Hello, this is Riley Porter with Seattle Sumo. You're listening to a commentary track for the 1964 Hatsu Basho, Day 6. The video coverage for this tournament can be found on the Japan Sumo Association's YouTube channel and accessed with a $9 membership. Of course, this commentary is free. In order to sync up the commentary with the video coverage, I will count backwards from 3, 3, 2, 1. As I hit the end in 1, you'll click play. I'll do the same, and we'll be in sync for this day's coverage. Without further ado, I will begin the countdown and we can get started. 3, 2, 1. Futabayama, Taiho, Chianofuji, Archive. Alright, opening here on a shot of the seats closest to the dohyo. Directly in front, the shinpan next to what I imagine are the more high-profile spectators. Here is Wakanaruto on 2-3 against Ogiyama. Wakanaruto has the advantage in their head-to-head. It's 5-1 in his favor. So, good odds for him today. Good charge from Wakanaruto, but he's a little high. Ogiyama digs his head underneath, slashes inside with that left. He's shallow inside right, drops his hips. He's scooting, and Yoritaoshi Ogiyama crushes out Wakanaruto, gets his third win, breaking even today. Overcoming the odds, moving to 2-5 in his head-to-head with the Kasugano Dikishi. Ogiyama, good sumo, good job getting his belt line lower than his opponents. Udagawa is on 2-3 today, and he's up against Aranami, who's on 3-2. This is their first meeting, Udagawa being the more experienced of the two here in the top division. Aranami starts on thrusting at the chest and throat. Udagawa, good defense, not moving back too far, reaching forward, returning some thrusts of his own. Pushes at the throat. Aranami doesn't stop, keeps up his attack, and then gets to Maimitsu. It's a very shallow frontal grip, moves inside with the right. Udagawa a little awkward here. Aranami very flexible. Neither in the most favorable position, but Aranami is a little lower. I think he's got something working with that inside right. Udagawa, good. Otsuke on the right, good guarding. Locked up here in the middle. Udagawa caught a little high. Aranami dropping his hips, trying to drive him out, but not quite enough power. Maybe another attempt will do it. Wriggling his hips away is Aranami. Slipping both arms inside now. Udagawa looking for a Morozashi. Aranami's going to have to keep those hips back if he wants to stay alive. Stretched out here. Yanking up Udagawa's belt. Makikai, grip change. Aranami's inside with the left now. Pumping in, crunching down. Udagawa trying for a lift and a Sorogake, and he crushes out Aranami. Yoritaoshi. So Udagawa, the more experienced Dikishi, prevails. They break even today, the two, both 3-3. So Udagawa caught in a bit of an awkward position at the beginning, but recovered well. You can see at the beginning when Aranami was giving him that barrage of thrusts, Udagawa had kept a very good stance, didn't move back too far, so goes to show how your angle helps. Wakamiyama picked up his first loss yesterday as against Kitano Fuji, who's won 23 bouts in a row coming into today. And a good charge, good thrusting away, parrying, and thrusting more as Kitano Fuji is really giving Wakamiyama's throat a barrage. A lot of work done now, moving in, and maybe that's a mistake as Kitano Fuji. Wakamiyama charges back in, closes the distance, and moves him all the way across the ring. Kitano Fuji moves inside with the left. Now it's a Morozashi for Kitano Fuji, but Wakamiyama has a Kime hold. His arms wrapped around the biceps of Kitano Fuji, so he's pretty much arrested the power that would come typically with a Morozashi grip, double inside. Wakamiyama makes a quick pass to the outside right, but returns to his Kime position. So does he, the heaviest Dikishi in this division, have the power to move out Kitano Fuji in this stance? Kitano Fuji is no slouch. He's pretty big too, especially for a newcomer. Very powerful. Clearly able to move Wakamiyama back, so you can see how having the bicep area, the upper arm locked up, really saps the power from this stance, which should typically be a winning one. That's the trouble with going so deep inside on an opponent that's that much heavier than you. Well, the standoff continues. Another reach for the outside by Wakamiyama. He'd really rather be on the belt here, you can tell. He's caught up pretty high. And if he makes an error here, then Kitano Fuji should really be able to win easily. Kitano Fuji tries for a Shitate Hineri inside pulling throw, but no go. Just can't generate that momentum, that can't get out of this position. If he wants to pull away, then Wakamiyama is just going to keep him locked up there. So a difficult position to throw from, a difficult position to drive from. Kitano Fuji, what's he going to do? And Wakamiyama, at lightning speed, hoists up Kitano Fuji, swings around and deposits him outside the dohyo. Kime Dashi, arm-barring force out. So Wakamiyama recovers from his first loss yesterday to get 5-1, and Kitano Fuji, his winning streak, which saw him collect a prestigious Juryo Zensho Yusho, has come to a close with 23 wins. Well, exciting Dikishi nonetheless. Kairyu Yama, 1-4, is against Tochio Yama, who's also 1-4. It's a 1-0 head-to-head in Tochio Yama's favor, so he has the edge. Good low charge, but Kairyu Yama, good dayashi. Didn't quite get to the belt. His arms were a little high up, but didn't matter. He made contact with Tochio Yama and posted up on the opponent. He just kept moving forward. Let his legs do the heavy lifting here. Kairyu Yama picks up his second win and goes even with Tochio Yama in their head-to-head. It's 1-1 now. Another peek back at the audience. Photographer there getting a snapshot. And the snapshot may be of Kane no Hana here, who's on 1-4, against Wakahaguro, who's also on 1-4. It's a 4-3 head-to-head in Wakahaguro's favor, slight edge. Kane no Hana immediately outside left and swings down Wakahaguro Watenage. So Wakahaguro in the past has been a very competent belt fighter, but at this stage of his career, someone as competent as Kane no Hana gets a hold of him, that's not really a recipe for success. So Kane no Hana dispatches the former Ozeki to get his second win. Looking good. Tsurugamine is on 2-3 coming into today. The Seoul Izutsu rep here in the top division is against Tsune Nishiki, one of a few Dikishi fighting for Dewanoumi here in Makunochi. Their head-to-head is 5-1 in Tsurugamine's favor, so you can count on him for this matchup. Tsune Nishiki is pushing up on the chest, the jaw, and pulling away. Looked to me like a Hikiotoshi, hand pull down, to send Tsurugamine to his fourth loss. So Tsune Nishiki gets his second win against Tsurugamine in 7 meetings. Overcame the odds there. Very active, this basho. Moving very quickly off the tachiai is Tsune Nishiki. Hirokawa, on a roll, on 5-0, is up against Kiyokuni, who's also on 5-0. Both of these Dikishi have a stablemate who's already got a win today, so good omens. Blasting, the two are pushing. This is all hands, and Kiyokuni wins Tsuki Taoshi, thrusting crush out. So Kiyokuni, I think, rightly anticipated that Hirokawa would come out pushing, so he just got to pushing himself and got the better angle. Maybe a little stronger. Who's to say? Could change encounter by encounter, but between the two clean Dikishi, he remains spotless. Coming out of day 6, 6-0. Day 1 Ishiki, oldest man in this division, looking for a second win today against Amatsukaze. He's got a 4-0 head-to-head against him, so good odds. He receives the tachiai, but not moving forward is Deiwan Ishiki. Amatsukaze closes the distance, pumps in with his belly, and finishes Deiwan Ishiki Yorikiri. So, nominal resistance from Deiwan Ishiki. He's so far matched his record last boss show with 1 win. If he could get that second one, he'd already be better off than he was in Kyushu. In any event, Amatsukaze, his 4th win today, looking good. Oginohana is on 3-2 and against Wakanami, who's also on 3-2, and they're head-to-head. It's 3-1 in Oginohana's favor, the heavier of the two. Even tachiai Wakanami darts in with the inside right, but it's a grip change immediately, and Oginohana doesn't waste any time, keeps moving forward and crushes out Wakanami Yoritaoshi. So Oginohana extends his winning ways over Wakanami. It's a 4-1 head-to-head now between the Deiwano Umi Dikishi and the Tatsunami Dikishi. 2 fairly prestigious stables. Sawa Hikari, relative newcomer, struggling here. 1-4 is against Fusanishiki, 3-2. It's their first meeting. Fusanishiki, good tachiai, hops across the line, gets to pushing upward on the face and chest, but Sawa Hikari darts to his right and gets pulling down. Hitataki Komi, slap down win, so that's his second and his first meeting with Fusanishiki. So it was retreating sumo, to be certain. Fusanishiki had the better of the tachiai, but Sawa Hikari, again, showing good mental strength today. Sticks with it, keeps moving, and gets that win. So good for Sawa Hikari. Shinpan are shuffling up. We're going to get some new judges here for the latter part of the top division action. Alright, next up, Iwakaze, Crouching Tiger, against Toyokuni. Now they're both on 2-3. It's a 2-0 head-to-head in Toyokuni's favor, so... Oh, Toyokuni jumps the gun there. A little light pushing on Iwakaze's face. A preview of things to come, perhaps? Iwakaze should be starting low, if he can get ahead of Toyokuni's pushing. He's not. Toyokuni jumps him. He's on the chest. Iwakaze drops his angle, goes where he wants to be, gets to pushing upward. He's got an outside left. He pumps, but in spite of his backbending effort at Tsuri, Toyokuni hooks a Sotogake with his right, trips him up and collapses the Wakamatsu veteran, picking up his 3rd win. Iwakaze drops to his 4th loss, so Toyokuni determined not to let Iwakaze get into his favorite stance off the tachiai, but it went back and forth there. Iwakaze did get to his low angle that he likes to fight from, but still couldn't overcome Toyokuni. Maedagawa, Takasago's top man this boss show, is on 1-4, and he's against Haguroyama on 2-3. Even tachiai, but already a Morozashi for Maedagawa. He moves towards the edge, almost gets swung out, but it looks to me like he was at a bad angle there on the edge. He collapsed on top of Haguroyama, but he was on the wrong side of the bales and made contact with the dirt first. Haguroyama gets his 3rd win. Maedagawa falls to his 5th loss, so despite being in a strong position, Maedagawa couldn't seal the deal. Perhaps a little overzealous there. It seemed like his momentum was being used against him near the end. It looks like the former Shionishiki here is Shionoumi. Correct myself here. Shionoumi here. They want Umi Ozeki is Shinpan here, I think. Oh, Hagurohana, yet to pick up a win. The struggling Sekiwake is against Waka Chichibu, who's got 1 win so far, and against an Ozeki, no less. It's a 7-4 head-to-head in Waka Chichibu's favor. Good low charge from Waka Chichibu. Head dug into the shoulder there. Good Otsuke protecting his belt. Hagurohana Wants to get inside. He's got a strong upper body. Wakachichibu, he's looking for that Morozashi. He's a little closer to it, too. Oh, Hagorohana, leaning, trying to protect himself, keeping that belt back. Wakachichibu hoisting him up, trying to move inside. You can see Hagorohana locking up his arms there underneath Wakachichibu's. Moves for the belt. Not yet. Hagorohana keeps up a valiant effort at defending himself. See that left Otsuke grabs at the hand now. His right on Wakachichibu's right, trying to arrest that grip on the belt, keep it from setting in. Wakachichibu keeps digging, trying to get further inside. He pumps in. Hagorohana keeps defending himself, but now he's at a loss here. Wakachichibu drives, and finishes. Yorikiri. Well, Wakachichibu on the right side of that bout for pretty much the whole encounter. Determined to move to that inside, not to get flustered. Just stuck to his game plan. Sometimes Wakachichibu, he can look a little lost, especially if an opponent gets inside of him, but he did well to get a strong position, keep his belt away, come at a good low angle off the tachiai. Here is Aono Sato at the top of the Maegashira against yet unbeaten Ozeki Tochi Hikari. Their head-to-head is a 10-5 in Tochi Hikari's favor. So he's got the edge, but Aono Sato has managed to upset him a few times, so could be the case today. We'll see. Tochi Hikari is low. He's looking for that inside right. He's got the outside left now. Aono Sato guarding himself. He's got an outside right. He's moving in, trying to tilt. Tochi Hikari drags with the inside left. Tochi Hikari looking for a Morozashi. Aono Sato arresting that left, but Tochi Hikari has grabbed a strand of the belt here. Or the topmost layer, I should say. Trying to dig in here, Aono Sato. Deep with the outside left. He moves in with his belly. He's got the belt lower. He pumps in. Good gaburi. But he's been stopped up and swung out. Shitate Nage. Inside belt throw to deposit him outside the dohyo. Could be called a yorikiri. Hard to say, but Tochi Hikari moves to his 6th straight win. This Kasugano Ozeki in great form, which is maybe a good sign for his Yokozuna hopeful stablemate Tochi no Umi. Tochi Hikari, of course, never gotten his own Yusho, so he'd like that too. Kitabayama, struggling Ozeki on 2-3 as against Tama Arashi, struggling even more. He's on 1-4. It's a 2-0 head-to-head in Kitabayama's favor. He's struggled to get into his favored position this basho, but we'll see if he can do it this time. Not quite. He's pushed up on the throat, kept at a distance by Tama Arashi, who's really giving him the business. This Oshizumo is non-stop. He keeps pushing up. Kitabayama's close to the distance. He's fished that inside right. Well, that's the grip he likes to work from. Outside left, he swings away. Not enough to finish him. Drives in for that Yori finish, and Yori Taoshi. Kitabayama wins the match. Well, flustered on the tachiai, as has been the case many times this basho, but he showed his strength, showed his experience. Kitabayama. Only 28 years old, not too far past his prime, but injury has seen somewhat of a decline in form, I think. Not able to get as low in as he used to. Not quite the same speed off the tachiai. Maybe it's just for this outing. Hard to say. Myobudani is on 2-3 and he's against in great form Sadanoyama. It's an 8-5 head-to-head. Not too uneven, but it's in Sadanoyama's favor. Considering how this basho has gone, you would definitely bet on him for this encounter. We'll see. Myobudani back far from the line. Oh, not quite set there. Try again. Down to the Sankyo, and back up. And Myobudani reaches for that outside, but pushing is Sadanoyama thrusting away at the chest, moving forward now and continuing the thrusting attack. Myobudani, not at a great angle here, defending himself but not moving laterally, and so is finished off. Sadanoyama encountered some resistance, but really was making all the going there. Pushing, 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 and finishing the lightweight tall man, Myobudani. Sadanoyama, like fellow Ozeki Tochi Hikari, is 6-0. So in the hunt for the Yusho, certainly as much a contender as the Yokozuna at this stage. We'll see. Yutakayama, 4-1, not too far behind, is against Fujinishiki, struggling here, like stablemate Maedegawa. Not a good outing for Takasago so far. He's on 1-4. It's a 5-3 head-to-head in Yutakayama's favor. Good low-angle charge from Fujinishiki, but he's repelled by Yutakayama. Moves back in, though. Tries a Hikiotoshi, not quite enough. Moves inside for that scoop. And now it's a Yorikiri win for Fujinishiki. A little two-hand shove there at the very end to finish off Yutakayama. So I suppose you could call that a Tsuki Taoshi. Though it was definitely belly-to-belly there at the last stage. So Fujinishiki, very aggressive. He was repelled initially at the Tachiai, but Yutakayama did not capitalize on that early shift of momentum, and Fujinishiki just resumed the attack against an Ozeki who didn't really seem to have a game plan here against the seasoned pusher, who gets his second win today, and Yutakayama his second loss. So his Yusho hopes are very quickly fading. Daigo, doing a lot better than his Sekiwake counterpart. Haguro Hana is on 4-1 and against Yokozuna hopeful Tochinoumi. It's an 11-6 head-to-head in Tochinomi's favor. He's been in pretty good form since his opening day loss, so I'd probably bet on him for this outcome. Him being the winner, that is. But Daigo has also been in good form. We'll see what happens. Tochinomi's in low. Looking for that Morozashi. Daigo drives, but is slipped at the last moment. Tsuki Otoshi. Thrust down. And it looks like a mono-e. So the judges will review. So it looked to me like, off the Tachiai, Tochinomi was moving for that double inside. Daigo with good Dayashi, good forward movement with his feet. Quickly got Tochinomi to the edge. Tochinomi slips away from underneath, pushes down on the back, sends Daigo onto his chest. And now the decision has been upheld. Goombay Dori goes the way of the Goombay. And Tochinomi gets the win. So, good for him. Kaino Yama is against Taiho. As you can imagine, it's a head-to-head in Taiho's favor, 6-1. Kaino Yama struggling here in his first Komosubi outing. So Taiho, large and in charge, should be should have an easy time. I would wager. We'll see. Kaino Yama in low, looking for that inside. Repelled, but keeping his belt away. Is he successful? I think Taiho's hooked that inside right already. Moves in deeper, drops his hips. Oh boy, well, Kaino Yama, Yorikiri, pretty well overpowered by Taiho. By the time he was being pushed on the edge, it looked very much like a father hustling his fussy child into the corner for a timeout. Taiho, very imposing, moves to his 6th straight win. This Yokozuna is looking to match Futabayama's record. And this Yokozuna has picked up a loss already, Kashiwado. But he's been doing pretty well overall. And he's against Shin Komosubi Kotozakura, who's doing just fine on 3-2 on his Sanyaku debut. A pretty respectable effort. It's a 1-0 head-to-head in Kashiwado's favor. We'll see what happens here. Not quite set off the mark, so we'll try again. In low is Kotozakura, but Morozashi immediately is Kashiwado when he crushes out the Sadogatake, the Kishi, Yoritaoshi. So Kashiwado, good placement there. Looked like a pretty painful fall for Kotozakura. His leg was bent underneath him in a very unnatural, strained fashion, so not surprised to see the Yobidashi swarming him here and getting ready to take him out. The Shinpan are also coming in to check it out. Well, I don't imagine there's going to be much of a protest to the call, but I do think that they... well, actually, I do think there is. I think there is actually a mono-ui happening right now as Kotozakura is being lifted away. Completely is carried, not at all on his feet, by the Yobidashi. That's pretty impressive. So now that we've got the Dikishi out of the way, they can figure out what happened at the end of the match. Okay, the Shinpan are done deliberating, and it's Gumbaidori. They're going to keep it Kashiwado's win. Well, I'm glad they could make time to check it out while they got rid of that useless lump of mass that was... I don't know, it was very funny to me that they just immediately started deliberating, but waste not, want not. Kashiwado, Taiho, both Yokozuna get a win. The race is still relatively open at this stage. Good day of sumo. Hopefully Kotozakura is okay. Thank you for joining me.